Hey Elmhurst, this is Paulina, and you're listening to Control Alt on WRSE 88.7 FM. Today we have Vinny Guido with us in the studio, a freshman here at Elmhurst University, to talk to us about his music and what he's been up to. So, Vinny, we want to know a little bit about where your music started. So, I'm curious to hear the story behind writing your first song and how that came about.
Oh man. Okay. So my first song, I wrote that 4 years ago, like sophomore year of high school. Um, it's called. It was named. Okay, it was named after the person I wrote it after, obviously, a girl. And being like 15 years old, you're like, I really, really like you, but I can't tell you. So I'm gonna write a song with really blunt lyrics that like is named after you, and you'll never know. um, yeah. So that's like the story behind like my first song, and then I learned my lesson. Don't be so blunt.
So, how many songs have you written since that first song?
Oh man. So since that first song, uh, released, I have like 98 songs that you can find everywhere. So it'll plug. So yeah. So there's 98. Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
Did you ever envision yourself writing that many songs at this point in your career?
Um, no. I honestly like starting out. I didn't know how long I'd go for, or like when I would stop. It was just I would do it for fun after school, in high school, and now I'm just trying to like do more and see what else I can do, and trying to like push my ability. It's like a muscle. Like the more you do it, the better you get at it. Not to like, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and play a few songs now, but stick around to hear more from Vinny and find out which musicians he's been inspired by. All right, Elmhurst, we're back in the studio with musician Vinny Guido to talk to him about his music and what inspired him to start writing his music. So, I saw on your Spotify description you wrote that you've gained inspiration to write music from your sheer love of the Beatles, Green Day, and the Velvet Underground. So, could you expand a bit more on that?
Yeah. So, I started listening to like Green Day in like elementary school, like fifth grade, probably sooner than that. And that's just all I had for a long time. And then at the same time, I was learning how to play guitar. So learning their songs really influenced me because of like their chord progressions and the way they write music and the way that they structure their songs. I didn't start getting into the Beatles till middle school, high school, and I realized how amazing they are and how not underappreciated because people consider them the greatest band of all time, but like they are. Let's be real. So especially like Paul McCartney's bass, chef's kiss. That really was like, dang, everything happens for a reason in music, and you got to make it sound good. And here's why. Like I was just interested in like why is it stuck in my head? So I was like, let's dive into that. And then Velvet Underground, yeah, I also didn't get into that till high school. Um, I just like I'd always heard about them, and then eventually I would discover them naturally, and I would of course learn their songs on guitar. Any earworms I had to know, and I would kind of just be like, oh yeah, that's a memorable thing. I might take that for my own music. So,
So, were there any specific songs that inspired you from these bands?
yeah, specifically, oh man, that's hard. A lot of like early Green Day albums, but like songs, it would be like Paper Lanterns, 409 in Your Coffee Maker, um, the one that I want, like everything off of Dookie, Anchor Plunk, Velvet Underground, definitely, of course, their first self-titled album, their second self-titled album, specifically that one, and also their third album, Loaded. Those, those are really good albums. I think all the songs on there, Who Loves the Sun, Sweet Jane, After Hours, Candy Says, and then the Beatles, of course, like every album, but to narrow it down, I'd definitely go with Abbey Road. It's probably one of my favorites of all time. And songs, probably do Oh Darling, Something, the whole medley at like the second half of the album because they're all like connected, It's very cool. Um, yeah. And I mean, it's hard to pick just a few, but if those were to be some, that's what it would be.
Yeah, so are there any other bands that you would consider to have been an influence on the music that you write, besides the ones that you mentioned on your Spotify description?
Ooh, okay. Honestly, it kind of just depends what I'm listening to at the time of when I'm writing. Like right now, I'm listening to a lot of Alexandra Savior, Arctic Monkeys, Celeste, um, Mac DeMarco. So lot more like contemporary stuff. At the time when I started writing music, just me and the acoustic guitar was a lot of the Beatles, Green Day, Velvet Underground. That's when I was kind of like building up that structure. But yeah, it kind of just depends on what I'm listening to. I just released an album like in August, and I was listening to like a lot of like Nirvana and a lot of Pixies, a lot of the Pixies. So yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to play a few songs from those bands so that our listeners can get a taste of what inspired your music, but stick around to hear more from Vinny Guido. Hey guys, it's Paulina, and you're listening to my show, Control Alt, on WRSE 88.7 FM. We're back again with Vinny Guido to talk not only about which artists have inspired him to make music, but also find out which song has been his favorite to make. So, Vinny, which song of yours is your favorite and why?
Oh man. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So my favorite song by Vinny Guido is probably gonna have to be Memories. It was like one of the first like acoustic songs that I wrote, for like one of my first albums, and that album specifically, After Hours Influences, is like really self-loathy because I was like really going through it. You know how it be, and you know I really expressed that through the song, and not only like lyrically do I enjoy it, but like um, it's like looking back at it, being as like a music major now, and like kind of like analyzing it. I think it's like one of the most original songs I've written because I so far have not written another song like that one. So I think the memories, pun, that it, you know, that are attached to the song, and the lyrics, of course, and like the chords and the melody, and it just, it's really nice to think about and listen to it every once in a while.
Yeah, so I know you said earlier that you've released about 98 songs so far, but where can our listeners actually find your music online?
Yeah, so you can find them everywhere, actually. Apple Music, you know how it is. Spotify, yup. YouTube Music. Yeah, it's actually on YouTube Music.
Well,
Yep, so you can find it everywhere.
now I know also that you have a new song coming out this week, and we're actually going to play that new song right now. So thank you, Vinny, for coming onto our
Of course.
show to talk about your music. And we're going to go ahead and play Vinny's new song, See Was Right.